Tonight, we take a look at the curious series of events which would bring together two people united in love.
The proposal to Marta was probably the most important day of Tom's life. Next to the day that maybe he got Nintendo.
From childhood to adulthood, this is the captivating story of Thomas Strickland and Marta Pruka. Marta Erin Pruka was born on September 2, 1982 at Hackley Hospital in Muskegon, Michigan. She was the first and only child of Thomas and Loretta Pruka, who had settled along the sand dunes of Lake Michigan. She came into the world independent with a yearning to discover her unique mind and all of its possibilities.
I kind of noticed in the delivery room that I had been witness to quite a few babies being born in my work experience. And there's the little bulb that you clean out the nose and the mouth and that sort of thing. She did not cooperate. She got so frustrated, she took the bulb and threw it across the room. And I kind of thought right then, it's like, oh, geez. She's not cooperating the first moment in life. She wants to do her own thing. So that kind of let us know what she's going to be like.
Described as an unusually clever baby, Marta could talk in basic sentences long before she learned to walk. She was incredibly curious about the world around her, and it wasn't long before she became completely absorbed in music, writing, and computers. Her favorite toy from childhood was her parents' Apple IIe computer.
We knew that she'd be a prodigy when we came in and found out that the computer was already turned on, and I think she was like 1.5, 2 or something. It was already booted up.
So she was creating stories by the time she was 3, 4, and 5 years old. And besides writing, she was also writing music. So I think writing is more, for her, it's creating. Creating as speaking, creating as writing, creating as drawing, creating as the computer.
Marta was creative in everything she did, even choosing her Halloween costumes. Every year, her open-minded mother would have to help Marta pull together her elaborate and peculiar costume ideas, even if it turned out to be a spider-vampire alien from outer space.
Well, early age with Halloween costumes, there was never a single thing. When she was 2 or 3, there was a character called She-Ra, which is like a female warrior. She wanted to be She-Ra, but it wasn't just She-Ra, it was a cheerleader She-Ra.
At the age of 6, Marta's new favorite activity was writing and acting out plays with her friends. These stage shows filled with fantasy and mythical beasts were something that her parents would endure politely and sometimes reluctantly participate in.
Marta would like to take and create a play, and then the three of them would go ahead and put it on. Typically it was your basic monster, princess, bizarre setting kind of thing.
Hundreds of miles away from Michigan, in the rolling hills of New England, Sandy Strickland gave birth to her first of 3 sons. Thomas Giles Strickland was born on August 1, 1978, in Northampton, Massachusetts. Within his first year of life, Tom gained a remarkable grasp on the world around him.
At 15 months old, I kept seeing this little black and blue mark on his thigh, and I thought, what is he doing to do that? And all of a sudden, I heard this boom, boom going out of the crib, and I looked through the doorway, and there was this little thigh going up on the side of the crib, and he learned how to get up and then lower himself down and run into the kitchen, So he figured things out real early.
One of the reasons, I think, was that we had a lot of time to spend with him. And I'll never forget, we were at a restaurant one time and there was an old book on the wall and we bought it, and it was to teach children to read. And so when he went to kindergarten, he wrote to his kindergarten teacher how much he looking forward to going to school, and of course nobody else was doing that.
1981 would see the birth of Tom's first brother, Lon Charles Strickland. Growing up together in the small liberal town of Pelham, Tom and Lon formed a strong relationship that would begin to bring out the creative potential in each of them.
I have a picture of him the day I brought Lon home in the bassinet, Tommy leaning over and giving him his pacifier. I've got pictures of him holding him and just loving him. He was great. Lonnie and Tommy got along right from the start.
As a little kid, Tom was, he was my buddy. We used to do all kinds of stuff together. We wanted to build a tree house, and we imagined, like the kind of fort that Bart Simpson has. And we thought we'd get my dad on board to help us. So my dad finally, helped us one day and went up there with a board and, hammered it in. And then he took a break, and then he never came back. For years, stared at this board, and it wasn't really much of a tree fort. So we decided to finish it. So we got some plywood and went up there and hammered it into the tree and finally finished, the 3 by 4 foot box that we could just barely squeeze into. We'd sit there and we felt pretty accomplished.
Eventually, the boys discovered the wonders of the tape recorder and found a new hobby, making their own radio show. It was a fun way to express their increasingly bizarre sense of humor, and it was a fascination that stuck, helping to shape their future careers.
Hi, welcome to Records, Music, and Fun. We'll take my first request. Hello?
Records, Music, and Fun was a radio show that Tom and I did, creating stuff that we would do, whatever was on our heads. I mean, sometimes we were so bored and we had no ideas, and it would end up just being like chaotic and just noise, and we'd actually get into fights. You'd hear, "Shut up, Tom!" But it was the first, venture into creativity, and it was like a war zone. And then when the video camera came along, everything changed.
I'm too young! Stop it! I'm too young! No!
It was the winter of 1989 when Tom, Lon, and little baby George had to say goodbye to their New England home. A job transfer would lead the family to Grosse Ile, a small island in the Detroit River. Leaving friends behind and moving in the middle of a school year proved to be the hardest on Tom.
The move to Michigan was difficult on Tommy. He was 12 years old. I think that's a difficult time for boys. When they moved out here, they made up a little jingle. Michigan sucks. And so everywhere we went, they sang it. We heard it in the back seat of the car. Michigan sucks. And, well, Mom, this is a good Toys R Us, but Michigan sucks.
After adjusting to their new environment, Tom and Lon immersed themselves in the joys of movie making. Beginning with ideas much like their radio show, they would create countless movies in their spare time. Each one became an experiment into something new, whether it was music videos, puppetry, or animation. Soon they began to realize the creative possibilities of video. As their friends joined in the process, the movie sets became more elaborate, the humor more outrageous, and the plots, which ranged from time travel to killer dolls, became more ridiculous.
What if my doll's alive? She's gonna kill me.
One in particular I remember is their friend Danny Falzone. Lon gets a present delivered to him in the mail, and he opens this box up, and in the box is just Danny's head.
I'm gonna kill you.
No, don't kill me!
And that's one of them that I just thought was so creative, that what kids think of this, I
hate how my dad is crazy.
Growing up, the boys were all shoved together in the back seat. That forced them to use the camera, which they had control of while we were driving. And there's all kinds of movies where they're all involved in ridiculous little scenarios, but very clever. And it was really good for George. George was drawn in, and George was sort of, because of the age difference, George was left out a lot. And this brought George in. I thought it did bring them all together.
1989 proved to be an important year for Marta as well. When her father's job required the family to relocate to the suburbs of southeastern Michigan, she had to leave the Lake Michigan dunes and her friends behind. The large wooded lot of her new home provided Marta with an environment to go on adventures, exploring the land with her new friends. While the outdoors appealed to Marta's curious nature, she still enjoyed writing above all else.
I don't think Marta ever stopped writing, or I think her mind was writing from the time she was born. She just needed a tool. And the pencil was hard because it took several years for her tiny little hands to be able to grasp a pencil, but the keyboard, I think, was the first tool that she had.
We were always coming up with different scavenger hunts for each other, codes, silly words. I had gotten this stuffed dragon from work, and so I brought the dragon over to keep her company when she was sick. And she ended up, I think the next time I came back to visit the dragon or something, she had come up with this like elaborate story about the dragon and I think his history, and she made the names up of his different anatomical organs and his bodily fluids and how he created his fire.
In 1995, Marta was presented with the opportunity of a lifetime, the chance to visit the other side of the globe, to see the sights of Australia and New Zealand, and most importantly, to do it on her own.
I think the trip really, first of all, helped her grow and mature, because this was the longest time she'd been away from home and been away from her mom. So she was one to not be afraid of going for some adventure. And then I remember on the trip, she was one that convinced the bus driver to let her drive the bus on the beach.
The beauty of the land and culture aroused Marta's interest in a new medium, photography. Her dream job changed from celebrated author to photographer for National Geographic. This move from words to images would eventually lead her into the world of filmmaking. A chapter in Marta's life was coming to a close. Good grades opened the doors to most anywhere she desired to attend after high school. Itching to get out of Michigan and experience the busy life of the big city, Marta enrolled herself in Columbia College, Chicago for a career in film and multimedia. She's
always been drawn to the bigger and bigger cities. I believe she considered New York City at one point, which is a little scary to me. Chicago, I can accept that.
It was the philosophy of Columbia to throw students into the frenzy of filmmaking right from the start. They handed them 16mm cameras, placed them out in the parks of Chicago, and told them to make a movie. The classmates that Marta had to depend on became her close-knit group of friends and colleagues.
She met people in her film classes that then got to be good friends, and then she got an extended group of people that had different disciplines. You got to see other people that had other skill sets, whether it was acting, whether it was animation, and they became a collective, almost an extended production company.
I first met Marta in my Production 1 class at Columbia College in Chicago. I remember Marta being one of those people who was obviously really intelligent and had a lot of talent. You could just sort of tell, and very artsy. She was a very artsy girl.
In the spring of 2002, Marta and her new group of friends could always be found together. Inside the classroom, they found respect for each other's talents. Outside the classroom, they found a common bond in their love for good film and their unique appreciation for bad film.
Yeah, I remember watching this movie with Marta and Ryan and Alyssa, and it was just absurdly stupid. And that's when I was first introduced to the fact that Marta and Ryan and Alyssa all enjoyed tearing apart bad films. And that's sort of something you have to be careful with, especially in film school, where everybody puts all this, heart and energy into making films. But it was great because I grew up making fun of films.
Still, there was something big in Marta's life that was missing, something important that was just around the corner. Tom Strickland had grown into an intelligent and responsible young man. In 1994, he was the talk of the town when his newest movie project was aired on public television.
I guess the most memorable movie that they made was probably Enviroman, because it was the first full-length feature film, and not that it was the best work they ever did, but it was the one that they put the most effort into, and it sort of set the whole direction for them.
I remember Enviroman being, that was a pretty big deal. That was a pretty big deal. We got on local cable access. My reaction was total like pride. I mean, I thought it was the greatest thing ever. I felt like I was really part of a real movie.
A summer job at a local video store would introduce Tom to Nick Schultz, a friend that would join Tom in attending Michigan State University, where they would become roommates for almost 6 years. During his junior year, Tom and his friends would move into a house together in Lansing. Dubbed the Hayford House, it had all the necessities to become the ultimate college party palace.
We ended up bringing this house, so it had downstairs speakers hooked up to Tom's room. It had outside speakers hooked up to my room. It had bar speakers hooked up to Ben's room. It had a pool table. We always had some weird stuff going on. We had some huge parties, like we had a great Halloween party I can remember, and me and Ben went to the dorm rooms and passed out all these flyers to all the freshman dorms.
It was one of the first times that we really had the freedom of making a film without having to worry about, your parents upstairs or making too much noise. That's how I saw the Hayford House. It was a set to make movies.
At the end of his college experience, Tom found his niche in audio post-production. In 2000, Tom graduated Michigan State with a bachelor's degree in telecommunication. 6 months later, he landed a job as an audio assistant at Gold Sound, a post-production house in Southfield.
Tom was always the guy that taught us how to use audio-visual stuff. He introduced us to MP3s. When Tom first started coming out with us, the first thing you do when you came to parties, you would make a beeline to the stereo system. Tom didn't know anybody, and somehow he ended up being the DJ. He ended up being the guy playing with all the dials, changing the music.
Meanwhile, Tom's brother Lon moved to Chicago to pursue his education in the directing aspects of filmmaking. While visiting his brother during the spring of 2002, Tom would meet Marta for the very first time.
So Tom came to Chicago to visit, and Marta and I were working on a film together, and she came over. At that moment, I introduced them, and Marta had her thick glasses and her long hair and makeup, and my brother was like, wow, these artsy chicks, there's nothing like this, at Michigan State. Tom and George were both invited to Ryan's birthday party. It was gonna be a surprise birthday, and we all dressed up. Marta dressed up in this Alice in Wonderland getup. Marta walked in, and Tom didn't even recognize her. He didn't even realize that was Marta from the dorms. I think she made an impression on him that night that would last a lifetime.
After spending a summer together, they would find in each other what had been missing in their lives all this time.
Tom and Marta make a really great couple because they both have a passion for what they do, and they're both connected to this communications art form and film and audio and music, and they both have a similar sense of humor. It's rare you find people who aren't afraid to laugh at bad movies or aren't afraid to just speak their mind. And Tom and Marta are both people who are their own voice, and I think that's really admirable.
During the next 2 years, Tom and Marta rarely spent a day apart. As their relationship grew stronger, Tom decided it was time to take it to the next level.
So my brother called me up one day, and he told me that he was going to propose to Marta. And I was, excited for him, and I thought it was great. But he had this whole elaborate plan worked out where he was going to, he wanted to take her into the woods, and he had created a banner and put it on the trees. And he was going to, have her close her eyes. And it was just a silly thing that he was really sincere about.
All dimensions in proper time-space continuum.
Tom's always like this. Whenever Tom is.
harmony of the universe will be restored once again.
Warning. Derailment intervention free. Unknown intervention. Warning. Derailment.
They were a family now, with life providing new and wonderful changes that neither Tom nor Marta could have ever expected. They were losers now. Tom had lost his job and eventually stooped to begging for food on the streets of Detroit. Marta became a gypsy and was later sued by her own mother for providing false information about her future.
Time reversal commencing.
Tom's marriage proposal to Marta was a wonderful success, terrible failure when an ominous sign deterred his plans.
Tom and Marta must get married.
Four, 27, 18, 9, 4, 2, 1.
Stop right here. Close your eyes.
Okay.
All right, keep them closed. Okay?
Okay.
Keep going now. Just a little further.
Proximity failure. Proximity failure.
All right, stop. Don't peek.
Warning. Dimensional portal will collapse in T-5 seconds. Portal collapse imminent.
What's going on?
It's actually over here this way a little bit. Okay, open them.
They're really good.
I knew you'd like them.
Mission failure. %, and dropping.
I must not fail. but you know I wouldn't leave you. You know I wouldn't. You know I love you. I've always loved you. You like flowers? Because I got so many to give you. I want you to be happy, girl. You know that. You know it.
Excuse me, sir. Requesting vital information regarding the addresses of Tom and Marta Strickland.
I'm on the phone, robot!
I'm not a robot.
So, you know, girl, Lori? Lori, hello? Gosh darn it. You freaking machines. You don't do any good for this world.
Requesting vital information pertaining to the addresses of Tom and Marta Strickland.
Will you help me? No. I'm gonna dump garbage on you. Get out of here, you stupid robot.
Hey, you guys should get married. Hey, get married.
What is it?
Some kind of machine.
Please procreate. Please procreate. Hi.
You're damaged. I can hear the decompression fractures in your mainframe sound engineer. Why don't you come inside?
This is a very impressive design.
Your union is essential to the final outcome of planet Earth.
I bet this is Nick's idea of a joke.
You guys should go procreate.
Nick would do something like this, wouldn't he?
I mean, if this is Nick's, he knows how to design robots really well.
Please get married.
Would you look at this? It's biomechanical.
Hey, you guys, please get married.
I got work tomorrow. I'm going to bed.
Hey, wait. Hey, Marta, come back. Marta, get back over here.
What are you?
I'm a robot. Mission failure. Mission failure. Computer, what is love?
Love, a human feeling of intense desire and attraction towards another human. The emotion of romance.
Yeah. Computer, what is romance?
Romance, ardent emotional attachment or involvement between people. A symbolic element appropriate for the establishment of love.
Computer, please provide schematical information for romance.
One moment, please.
Sequence initiate. 5, 4, 18, 6, 17, 13, 12, 4, 5, 1, 6, 5, 7, 8, 6, 0, 0, 9, 12, 1, 6.
You like flowers? Because I got so many to give you. I want you to be happy, girl. You know
Excuse
that.
me,
You
sir.
know
A request for your attention. Your cellular telephone signal will be fading in T-minus 6 seconds.
It will?
Yes, please use my technologically advanced antenna.
Okay. Lori? Yeah, now I can hear you real good. Yeah? Tomorrow? Okay, it's a date. I love you too. Bye. Thanks a lot, robot.
No problem. Say, will you provide me with romantic merchandise?
Yeah. I got all kinds of stuff. I mean, I got all kinds of things. You hold this. I got a bunch of stuff, these animals and stuff. There's a teddy bear. Isn't that nice? This is yours forever. Here, you can have this stuff. Yeah, a bunch of these suckers. That's good. And here, this is cool. Hold that and this. Now give it a shake. You got it. Cool. Got a couple more of these. Yeah, it's really good. And last but not least, all right. Cool.
All right, I'll see you later, okay? How about it?
Good luck, robot. Good luck.
Tom, come here.
What the hell?
It's romance. It's romance for your love.
Stay back, robot! Stay back!
I brought romance. Do you like my romance?
Stay back!
I did the romance. I brought romance. Uh-oh.
Tom and Marta's lives were taken that day by a robot from the future. The apartment was discovered in an odd state by Tom and Marta's daily routine began with breakfast. Tom would catch up on the news with his morning paper, while Marta liked to relax and appreciate the blessings of a new day.
I know what I must do.
Time reversal commencing.
Tom's marriage proposal to Marta was a wonderful success, terrible failure when an ominous sign deterred his plans.
Sequence initiate. 6 0 0 9 12 1 4 3 12 9
Now I understand why humans love.
On August 13, 2005, the happy couple would unite in the bonds of matrimony, becoming Tom and Marta Strickland. After a beautiful vacation along the Pacific coast, the newlyweds would return to their home and begin their new life together. During the summer of 2010, Marta would give Tom the joy of both their lives, their son Xavier Strickland. Much about Xavier reflected his parents at a young age. He was quick to learn, he was innovative, and he dove into the world of technology with a passion. At the age of 12, he was sent off to a private school that specialized in children with superior abilities in science and math. From there, he would go on to build the world's first Falzatron, an interdimensional time-traveling robot that would enable deep space travel for mankind and protect dimensional synchronization, thus prolonging the existence of the universe. It could be said that this was perhaps the single most important invention in the history of the modern world.